What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Palworld video. Today, guys, we are discussing the top 10 strongest pals. Now, I've taken quite a few different sort of calculations into factor here to determine who are the strongest pals. Now, obviously, the legendaries will be on this list as they are one of the strongest baseline pals that you can get in the game. However, I've also used the pals' certain stats to determine who is stronger, and as well as that, I've factored in their pal equipment as well as some of their passive skills. So without further ado, let's jump into the top 10, and I want you guys to let me know whether or not you agree with my top 10 list, and if not, who would be the replacements you would make and at what number on this list. Let's just totally ignore the starving Hellzephyr behind us as well. Now, coming in at number 10, we have Sweeper. Now, Sweeper is an absolute powerhouse when he is paired up with a bunch of Swees. So guys, Sweeper has the ability of the King of Fluff, so he can be ridden as well with a saddle, but while fighting together, stats will increase the more Swee are in your team. I have a party full of Swee, and Sweeper's attack and defense is 553 and 399 defense, which is already on par with some of the higher level guys that I have in my party. Now, you can also raise Sweeper's condensation level to level 2, level 3, level 4, and this will actually increase the stat gain that he gets from the Swees. So you can essentially get yourself a Sweeper with 2000 attack and a ridiculous amount of defense. And that's without any passive skills of his own. Like, this guy only has Mind Foreman, but you can get Ferocious, you can get Legend if you breed down and everything like that. Meaning your Sweeper could be an absolute king. Now, from the extra 4 Swees we have in the party, Sweeper gets an extra 48% attack and an extra 48% defense. Do take note, this Sweeper is only level 32, has not had any extra Power Souls put into it, and does not have any extra condensation levels. Meaning you can create an absolute powerhouse of a pal through Sweeper. You can see before here his attack was 374 and 270 defense, and it's gone up by 50%. Absolutely crazy what you can accomplish with this guy if you spend the time breeding up his passive skills and increasing his partner skill. Now, as for the location of the Sweeper, you can see they are located in a couple of different spots. So all through the grasslands area here, as well as in the borderline of the desert, as well as in the ice biome in this pocket up here. So what are you waiting for? Get yourself a Sweeper, max it out, and you will not be disappointed. However, he comes in at number 10 due to the fact that he's not the coolest looking dude. I love him, don't get me wrong, but he ain't the coolest looking guy, and it will take a very long time to get those stats that you need. So let's move on to number 9. Now, coming in at number 9, we have Relaxosaurus. Now, Relaxosaurus, he's not the strongest, he's not the greatest, but he does have a goddamn missile launcher. And with that missile launcher, you were able to stun lock pretty much any of the bosses, bar the tower faction bosses. This means that you can instantly fire missiles however often you wanted to, preventing the enemy pal from actually attacking you, providing your team a chance to heal over time if you're in the middle of a boss fight, because you're essentially stun locking the pal out of their attacking animations and keeping them stuck on the floor. You can see here, Fanglope is not able to really get off too many attacks if we are able to keep up the barrage. Normally you will do this at a bit of a distance, however, us being inside of this cave makes it a little bit harder. Here we go. Bit of distance between us, and you can just detonate as many missiles as you want. Now, obviously, you can hold down the barrage to deal a bunch of damage. Against the overworld bosses, it doesn't do a crazy amount of damage. However, against the faction bosses, it does a crap ton of damage because they are immune to getting knocked around, meaning you can deal tons and tons of damage with Relaxosaurus's missile launcher. Now, yes, it is level 50 in order to get Relaxosaurus's missile launcher, but it's well and truly worth it. He also has quite a large amount of health, attack, and defense. Once again, obviously not as strong as some of the other guys that are on this list, but a well and worthy pal to be on this list at number 9 due to it having that missile launcher. Now, you can find Relaxosaurus in this area just here during the day, as well as during the night. And he also has a variant as well. So if you do want to find the electrical variant, there's obviously the boss version of it in the shrine. However, in my opinion, the water typing is stronger than the electric typing. But it is up to you which one you want to go for. It as well being a dragon type means it is effective against dark type pals as well. So keep that in mind as well. Now coming in at number 8, we have Grisbolt. Now Grisbolt is an absolute beast of a pal. Now obviously you can go about cheating your way and capturing Zoe's pal. However, Grisbolt can be found on the Habitat Islands. You just have to find him out here, kill a couple of pals, and he should eventually spawn in. Now, he isn't the strongest electric type in Palworld. Obviously, that title goes to Orsurk, but he does have the ability to fire a goddamn Gatling gun. And that Gatling gun itself more than makes up, in my opinion, for his not strongest electric type title. You can also breed Orsurk down as well to provide the Lightning Master buff to Grisbolt, making him even stronger and his lightning attacks to deal 20% more damage. But the yellow tank ability is just so much damage in such a short amount of time. And once you use it, he has plenty of attacks to go around to kill victims in the area as well. That ground pound attack is just super strong as well, and it's definitely not to be slept on. Now, in terms of his stats, he does have a total of 525 points. So that is a combination of the attack, defense, HP, as well as support skills being tallied up. I have been leaving those on the side of the screen for you guys to take a look at as well, but I believe it does not factor in their PAL skill, which is why I've compiled this list. And you'll notice that there are obviously a couple of PALs on here that have unique skills, mainly those being the fact that they can fire goddamn guns and missile launchers. So Grisbolt, in my opinion, does rank higher than Orsurk because of that ability to use the Gatling gun. And once again, if you level up your Grisbolt, his yellow tank skill will also deal more damage and enable you to fire for even longer. You can also selectively breed these guys in order to get better skills and increase the power of your Grisbolt. So let's move on to number 7. Now guys, coming in at number 7, we have Lylene Noct. Now, Lylene and Lylene Noct have the ability to heal you with their PAL skills. So you can see here we did have low health and we just got healed by Lylene Noct. Now, this one is only level 1, however, it does have a very good PAL score of 535, making it very viable, and with the ability of it being able to heal you as well, being one of the very few PALs in the game that are able to heal you, it is a very good PAL to have in your team alongside the rest of your pals. Now, Lylene herself as well is definitely worthy of this same spot as well. It does have a little bit lower stat-wise in terms of Lylene Noct, and it is also the grass type, which is why I put Lylene Noct over Lylene, but Lylene is easily replaceable in this position as well. Lylene is actually slightly better around the base as well, due to it having the ability to have planting level 4, making it one of the best planters in the game. Now, in order to get a Lylene Noct, you will need to actually capture a Lylene up here in the Habitat Island, or you can breed a Lylene by using Masanda and Petalia, and that will grant you a Lylene. Once you have Lylene, you will then need Lylene and Menacing breeding to create Lylene Noct. And that is how you go about getting Lylene Noct, but both of these guys do have the Goddess of the Tranquil Light, the partner skill that heals you. So either way, both of these will provide you with health. It's up to you which one you want in your party, and they are interchangeable depending on the typing that you want available to you. So that is why Lylene Noct comes in at number 7. Now coming in at number 6, we have Anubis. Now Anubis is an absolute powerhouse, and he is also one of the strongest pals that you can get in the early game through breeding. Now, his PAL skill is very unique in that he has the ability to dodge attacks with a high-speed sidestep while in battle, as well as that he also applies Earth Element to your attacks. So you can see there our shotgun pellets just did Earth damage, meaning that you can dish out a whole heap of damage with your own weaponry while fighting alongside Anubis. Now, Anubis is also quite easy to obtain through breeding, which is why he's higher on this list than some of the other guys. So some of the very easy methods that you can do to get Anubis include breeding Cinnamoth and Bushi, Cinnamoth and Van Wirum, Cinnamoth and Blazehowl Noct. Most of these guys are available pre-level 20, So you can capture them and breed them and give birth to an Anubis egg very easily. Now, as well as that, Anubis also has one of the best handiwork work suitabilities in the game, as well as mining. So he's a great guy to get set up in your mining bases when you first start off. Obviously, you'll need all the miners you can get your hands on. Anubis being a level 3 miner means he will be able to harvest up the ores as well as coal and sulfur if you have that in the area. So do not sleep on Anubis. He's one of the strongest powers that you can get early game through breeding. There are a ton of different combinations that you can use to get Anubis, and I would not sleep on him. You definitely need to get yourself an Anubis, and that is why he's on this list at number 7, because you essentially are able to breed an army of these guys, increasing the Guardian of the Desert, increasing your Anubis's stats in the process as well. Now, coming in at number 5, we have Yormuntide, the Emperor of the Sea. Now, Yormuntide is an absolute beast of a pal, and his Hydrosphere attack just does so much damage, and that is one of the very good reasons why he's up here. However, his variant Yormuntide Ignis also deserves this same spot. In terms of stats, these guys are both very similar. So Yormuntide Ignis comes in with a total stat point of 610, while Yormuntide comes in at 600. However, I believe Yormuntide is slightly stronger at the moment due to it having the Lord of the Sea buff, which is only obtainable on Yormuntides. Yormuntide Ignis does not have this buff. He does not get this passive skill. You can obviously breed it into him later down the line. However, that could take quite a little bit of time. And I do find that Yormuntide is slightly more usable than Yormuntide Ignis due to the large amount of fire types in Palworld. Yormuntide is just able to absolutely obliterate them with Hydro Laser and all its various aquatic moves as well. Now, you can also ride around on Yormuntide as well, cruise through the ocean, head over to those habitat islands without utilizing any stamina on the water. He isn't the fastest as well, so you probably won't even use him anyway. I rarely use mine to travel around. It was mainly for dealing damage and aiming my Hydro Laser at those I deemed necessary to receive its damage. This guy is absolutely crazy, and he should not be slept on, as he is one of the most powerful pals in Palworld. Now, he also has Watering level 4, and Yormuntide Ignis also has Kindling level 4, meaning these guys are one of the best work suitability types for kindling and watering as well. So don't sleep on them. Now, Yormuntide can be found around the map at various points. You have one located here, and you also have one located up here. So they are your only point of captures for Yormuntide. You can obviously breed it as well though, so keep that in mind. As for Yormuntide Ignis, he is found on the Habitat Islands. So he's found on the far left one. You can find them in quite large numbers as well, meaning you can capture quite a lot of them and condense them rather quickly. Now, coming in at number 4, we have Necromus. Now, Necromus is one of the legendary pals, and he is found up here in the desert alongside Palladius, who you can find up here. You will have to fight both of them at the same time, so do keep that in mind. They can be a little bit difficult in order to capture them, but Necromus is an absolute beast alongside the legendary pals with a massive 735 attack, 756 defense, and a huge amount of HP at 9,122. His total stat score is 595. Yes, that does make his total stat score weaker than Yormuntide, but his extra health and his skills just make up for it with that extra damage. He's an absolute beast, and he's just crazy. Now, do take note, if you do decide to breed the legendary pals to try and make copies of them, they will not have the same amount of health as you would have from your wild caught pals. So keep that in mind. They will not be as strong, but you can obviously selective breed them to try and get better stats and stuff like that. However, they will never have the same amount of health as your wild caught pals. So just keep that in mind when you're going about them. But Necromus also has the ability to be ridden, and he can double jump while riding. He does also come with the Legend passive skill and the Lord of the Underworld skill, which you can also pass on to your other pals. I got very unlucky with mine, and it obtained the Pacifist, which gives us negative 20 attack. Not the greatest, but it's still up there with the legendary type pals. Now, coming in at number 3, we have Palladius. Now, Palladius is Necromus's bigger and scarier brother. armed with a lance and a shield. He is one of the other legendary pals, and he is stronger than his brother in my opinion. Having the ability to do a Holy Lance attack like that, very similarly to Necromus, he does also have slightly better stat points as well, coming in at 605, with an extra 10 points on top of his brother. Now, once again, Palladius is a legendary pal that you can capture up here in the desert, and if you do go ahead and try and breed these guys, they will not have the same amount of HP that the bosses captured will have. But this guy has 774 attack, 811 defense, and he does come with the Legend and Celestial Emperor passive skills, meaning his attacks are going to do a heck of a lot more damage. Now, you can also ride Palladius, and his PAL skill enables him to triple jump. Whereas Necromus is only able to double jump, Palladius has the ability to triple jump, making him, in my opinion, more superior than Necromus. Plus, the fact that his normal type only means he's susceptible to dark types instead of dragons, and I feel like there are a lot more dragon type pals in the game than there are dark type pals. So that puts Palladius in at number 3. So now we're getting into the nitty-gritty side of things, and coming in at number 2 we have Jetragon. Now, yes, Jetragon is the legendary dragon found in the volcano area, and he does come equipped with another freaking missile launcher. If Relaxosaurus isn't your vibe, you'll definitely love Jetragon. Being able to rain down missiles from the sky is definitely a vibe. Now, Jetragon is found over here on the map as well, and you will only be able to find one of them. You can eventually breed Jetragon as well, however, once again, he will not have the same stats as his boss variant. Now, Jetragon actually comes in with a stat score of 560. It is, however, the fastest pal in the game without any passive skills, plus it has the ability to fly and not utilize any stamina when going over water, and it doesn't have the fly ability available. But Jetragon, unfortunately, doesn't have the greatest work suitability, so you will want to use this guy for attacking, obviously, and getting around the map, but in my opinion, he is not the strongest pal in the game. He comes in at number 2. So let's move on and find out what number 1 is. Now, finally, coming in at number 1, we have the legendary steed of ice, Frostallion. In my opinion, Frostallion is the strongest pal in the game, overriding Jetragon due to its typing. Now, ice is super effective against dragon type pals, so you will need a Frostallion for the final boss. Well, I mean, you won't need it, but it'll definitely help. And Frostallion technically does beat Jetragon in both stats and typing. Frostallion comes in with 570 total stat score, meaning it is 10 stats stronger than Jetragon. Now, you can also sprint with Frostallion along the ground, and you can also fly with Frostallion. Yes, it's not as fast as Jetragon, but it is definitely still up there. Plus, its ability Crystal Wing does a crap ton of damage to both bosses and wild pals, and you need to try and use that on as many bosses as you possibly can. As well as that, Frostallion's stamina drain is much slower than Jetragon, and the speed is just phenomenal. It's really worth it. Now, you can find Frostallion up here in the north in the ice biome, all the way up here. It is quite a journey to get to, but once you're able to capture Frostallion, boy oh boy, is it a really good mount. I got really lucky with my Frostallion, with us having Legend, Ice Emperor, and the Runner, meaning it moves even faster. You can obviously selectively breed this so that you get better passive skills later down the line, but that's entirely up to you. My Frostallion is definitely worth it, and it definitely deserves the number 1 spot. Now, its type variant, Frostallion Knock, isn't as strong as Frostallion, but it's definitely still up there. And it does have a variant, so you could use it for different situations if you so deem to. But like I've mentioned multiple times through the Legendaries video, they will not have the same amount of health as their boss legendary counterparts. So you will need to try and catch the legendary counterpart as well. In order to get Frostallion knocked, you will need to breed a Frostallion and a Hellzephyr together. That will give you Frostallion knocked. But guys, that is going to wrap up this video for today. Let me know what you think of the 10 strongest pals in Palworld. Let me know if there are any changes you would make or anything like that. There are obviously a couple of pals that I did leave off the list that could definitely be included here, and those include all of these guys, literally. Like, you could add any of these guys into the top 10 and they would be well and truly worth it. But this is just my opinion and my research that I've done and the reasoning behind my top 10 choice. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe down below for more. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.